For our 25th wedding anniversary, we decided to drive the coast of California on Route 1, otherwise known as the Pacific Coast Highway. We took our time and spent about a week driving the coast from San Francisco to Los Angeles, with many stops along the way. Our flight left early in the morning, so we needed a little caffeine to get started. Then it was time to board the plane and head to California. Our first stop in San Francisco was the Golden Gate Bridge. The Golden Gate Bridge has been described as possibly the most beautiful and certainly the most photographed bridge in the world. At the time of its opening in 1937, it was both the longest and the tallest suspension bridge in the world. We spent our first night in San Francisco and walked around and explored the Chinatown area. The next morning, we drove to Muir Woods National Monument. Muir Woods is a beautiful 500-acre redwood forest just about 20 minutes north of San Francisco. This was easily one of our favorite stops. After we left the redwood forest, we drove just a few minutes away to the Muir Beach overlook. We enjoyed a nice lunch at a picnic table overlooking the ocean, and then spent a few minutes on the walking trails admiring all the great views of the coast. We then drove about 30 minutes away to the Point Bonita Lighthouse, originally built in 1855. In order to reach the lighthouse, you have to walk down a short trail and through a 118-foot tunnel that was carved out by hand in 1876 and took about 6 months to complete. Unfortunately, by the time that we had parked and walked down the trail and through the tunnel, some pretty heavy fog had rolled in. Of course, that's pretty common for this area. At this point, you walk over the suspension bridge to actually reach the lighthouse. From there, it was back through another tunnel, out of the city, and on our way down Route 1. We spent our first night in Pacifica, where we were greeted with this view from behind our hotel. Our first stop the next day was the Pigeon Point Lighthouse, built in 1872. At 115 feet tall, it is the tallest lighthouse on the West Coast. Our next stop was Shark Fin Cove. This was an unplanned and spur-of-the-moment stop for us, but we spent a lot of time here and really enjoyed it. Just be warned, it's very windy at the top, so hold on to your hat. Our next stop was at the Natural Bridges State Beach near Santa Cruz. Our final stop of the evening was in Monterey, where we stayed on Cannery Row in the beautiful Intercontinental Hotel. The next morning it was time to drive the Big Sur portion of the Pacific Coast Highway. Big Sur is considered by many to be the most scenic portion of the California coastline. Up first was the Rocky Creek Bridge, followed closely by the Bixby Bridge, both built in 1932. The Bixby Creek Bridge is the larger of the two and is one of the most photographed bridges in all of California. From there, it was on to our next destination, the Julia Pfeiffer Burns State Park. After a short walk and through a tunnel, you come to the highlight of this state park, McWay Falls. McWay Falls is an 80-foot waterfall that drops down onto the beach below. From here, it was time for lunch at Nepenthe. Nepenthe is one of the best restaurants in Big Sur and features dramatic views of the coastline. Our next stop was the Elephant Seal viewing area near San Simeon. It was amazing to see hundreds of elephant seals in their natural habitat. Our final stop of the evening was in Cambria, where we stayed at the Ocean Point Ranch. Just a short walk away, we were able to enjoy another beautiful California sunset before we retired to our room in front of the fireplace. The next morning, it was time to explore what ended up being one of our favorite stops on the trip, the Hearst Castle. The Hearst Castle is a massive estate that sits on a beautiful 40,000-acre property overlooking the Pacific Ocean. The Hearst Castle was constructed between 1919 and 1947. Inside of the castle are 115 rooms, including 38 bedrooms and 40 bathrooms.
Mr. Hearst also sat 2 terms in the American House of Representatives representing the great state of New York, and that's before he lost his 2 presidential runs, his run for Lieutenant Governor of New York and his run for Governor of New York. By the end of his first term serving in the House of Representatives, where he still holds a record for not showing up to vote.
I highly recommend anybody in the area to stop by and spend at least a half a day exploring the Hearst Castle.
As we descend, the coastline and matchless views become visible again. You can see why William Randolph Hearst went to the expense and difficulty of building his estate at the top of such a high hill.
Our next stop was in Morro Bay to check out the 580-foot Morro Rock. Our stop for that evening was one of the most fun and unusual stays of the trip, the Victorian Mansion Bed and Breakfast, where we chose the 50s suite. The 50s suite is themed after a 50s drive-thru, and your bed is actually a 1956 Cadillac. The Cadillac's trunk was used for a seat, and the trunk lid was used for the sink. The room includes a 2-person soaking tub, and behind this hidden door is the bathroom. Behind another hidden door, breakfast is delivered directly to your room at the time of your request. Though it is technically not on Route 1, we still had to check out the Danish capital of America, Solvang, California. Solvang is a beautiful town with many windmills and European-style architecture throughout. The last stop on our Highway 1 trip was Santa Monica. We had a Hilton free night certificate, so we booked a room at the Oceana Hotel. Upon check-in, we got a free upgrade to this nice ocean view suite. Just a short walk from our hotel was the Santa Monica Pier. From the pier, we watched our last California sunset. We then found a Shake Shack, which, as you can tell, made Amanda very happy. I don't guess I was upset about it either. For our last day in California, we spent some time exploring Los Angeles and the Hollywood area. It was then time to board a plane and fly back to Texas.
Choose any available seat. First available seat. You have 2 carrying items. Place the larger one in the overhead bin, smaller one under your seat in front of you, please.
Happy 25th anniversary, Amanda. I've enjoyed every adventure that we've had together, and I look forward to many more.